Hey guys, here we are, the Quiggin Out MMA Podcast, episode 67. I know you missed us, and tonight we're going to do something super special. I know for the last 66 episodes, you've been watching me at the end of the episode talk about all these people who are the sponsors, and most of you probably don't know who they are. So I said, you know what? Let's do something different. So with me now, I've got Juan from the one and only Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Look,
So I see you're repping the Combat Night. I can see the
yes,
and
rip my
you know
combat
we're
night all day long.
I just want to tell everyone on the show this was not planned at all. So
No,
it's,
I just came from the gym. This is
oh my
100%.
gosh. So I
You
really
know,
appreciate it. And, like I said, from the earliest of episodes, Fat Boy Jiu Jitsu has been somebody like since I got this shirt. I think since the day I got this shirt, I added you to the list. And, we usually don't talk about it too much, but the sponsors that I have on the show aren't really sponsors. They're just people that I really want to give we're going to use the term glow up for this reason, but really get you out there. So I kind of want to talk about, your journey with jujitsu and how you came to form the brand that's known as Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu.
well, that's so I started training jujitsu. Well, I actually did not. The idea wasn't to train jujitsu realistically, right? I started
Never is.
watching. Um, got really big into MMA. Got some friends who were MMA fans, and I started watching um, hardcore, like back in the Affliction days, right? Back when Fedor and I think it was going to fight Andrei Arlovsky, those M1 glow, like back that time, right? And the Ultimate Fighter was getting big, and at that point, I was like, you know what? There was, and I can't even remember who it was, but there was a guy who was on the Ultimate Fighter who had lost a significant amount of weight and was on the show, and I was like, oh man, that could be me. And locally, we had an MMA fighter named by the name of Kevin Abrante, um, who trained at the Gracie Baja that I went to, and I was like, man, you know what? It's possible. It's possible. I can do this. So I went to Gracie Baja and I went to sign up because I was like, okay, well, I got to learn jiu-jitsu if I want to be an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
And so I started training jiu-jitsu my first class. They give you, you sign up, they give you your free gi. And it's not really free gi. You're paying up front for it basically. And so
Yeah.
they gave it to me, and it was like the biggest one they had. It was an A5, and it barely closed the top. The pants were laughable. They were super long. They weren't going up, but halfway up my thighs. It wasn't for me. It didn't feel like it was for me. And and to their point, they had something else they were trying, right? So I was close to 380 pounds, 385 pounds. And I tell people the biggest I was 385. But honestly, that was the biggest I saw on the scale. Was there times where I was more robust? Yes. When, more heavier, probably. I probably tipped over 400 at one point. But 385 was the biggest I got. And that, getting 385 at a doctor's office when it's not even a special scale. It's a scale that kind of, it looks like a walker. It's so big, it's almost like a walker, and it has a platform.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to hold on to it because they, don't fall over. The scale you see at like my 600-pound life, like those kind of scales. It was, pretty big scale. So they there wasn't really a gi for me, and I started trying to wear nurse scrubs. So nurse scrubs, I was trying to, because you can get up to like 3X, and they had an elastic band waist. The problem with scrubs is scrubs are really thin. So when somebody grabs a grip, those are probably the last time that seam is gonna hold.
Yeah.
So you can kind of fake it a little bit. And that's kind of what I did. And I started training a little bit of Muay Thai instead. I had injured myself. I got injured. Someone was going for a takedown. So then I started training Muay Thai more. And I kind of, at the same time, my wife got pregnant, and I kind of backed off from going to the gym. in the ruse, and the guys all, my wife needs me at home. She's pregnant, yada yada. Then my son came, and it was, I'm not going to the gym now because I got a baby. I can't be going to the gym with a baby, and all that noise. And and during that time when I went, I probably got bigger too, right? I know I got bigger when my wife was pregnant with my son. I would eat her meals. I would finish her meals, and instead of saying, okay, well, let's just order one meal because I know you're not going to eat it, I would order the biggest meal I wanted, and then instead of even taking that meal for like lunch the next day or whatever, I'll just, I'm going to finish it here. So I started blowing up a lot more. Then, with my son, I spent a lot of time playing video games, right? And it was about 18 months when I started to go back to jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
And
18 months.
18 months, yeah. So I was, like I said, training 6 to 9 months, then a break for 18 months. And then I went back. And then when I went back, I was like, man, I was buying 2 gis. I was buying a big enough gi that had pants that would fit, but their sleeves or their gi top would never fit. So then I would buy another gi just for the top and kind of mix and match gis that way. I would try to get them the same color, but most of the time that wasn't happening. So there's a lot of pictures of me back in the day of just white gi top or white gi pants, blue gi top, because that's what fit. That's what I had that fit.
Because like an A4 isn't meant for somebody who's 5'10". It's meant for somebody who's like 6'5", that weight. And I know I'm 295. Like, I'm not a small guy either. And I know how hard it is to find the gi. So I get that. And it's almost a discouragement because you finally find, you're trying to find pants that fit and you can't move your legs for guard
because they bind.
And you're like, well, I'm just going to figure out what else to do today. Like, you kind of just have to adjust to being fat. Like, there's no way around it. Like, it's crazy.
You really do. And the idea that, the craziest thing was when everybody said jiu-jitsu's for everybody. Okay, so where's my gi? Where's my gi? Where's the gi that fits me, right? Or at least, and I know, so that was like the catalyst, the catalyst to say, man, I could probably do this. And honestly, I didn't realize how many guys that, that I could help, right? Because there's a bunch of guys, 1 or 2 gis, and you know what? I don't want, realistically, if I sell you a gi, I don't want you buying the A4, the A3, the A4 Fat Boys for years. That's not the idea. That's for you to get in a gi so you can start training, so then you can eventually get into an A3 or an A2, a regular size gi. Now, granted, I sell those sizes too, but I don't want, I don't necessarily want you to always, if I have someone who's buying for the last 5 years or 6 years the same size gi, we got to talk about your discipline.
Yeah, what are we doing that, I know these gis fit you, and I think that's probably what it comes down to too. I hate when that comes up.
Oh yeah.
But realistically, I think that's a crazy business idea, is that you're saying like, hey, listen, I know I'm making these gis for you bigger guys. Don't stay in these sizes. Don't put yourself in that window where all you can get is from me. For me, I had an A3 Vulcan, the ultra light. It's still not ultra light. It doesn't breathe the best, but it was an A3 that fit me perfectly. And I had gone through 4 other gis, and I tried A3 Husky, A3 Long, A4, and I'm trying all these different gis, and I'm like, none of these work. I'm having
most of them you're buying them, right? Because you're not. It's not like, or some people they'll buy and a return and stuff like that, but
but most of them you're not returning. I donated one of my other ones to one of the guys in the dojo, and he wears it all the time, and it fit him perfectly. But I went, I need something for me, and I just got recently. I haven't even got to use it on the mats, if that tells you anything. But I finally found a gi top that fits the top. The pants
That's great.
kind of long, but you're still like, as soon as somebody grabs a little bit of fabric, full control. You have lost everything because they've got all this extra room of grabbing onto you because the pants are too long or the pants are too tight and they can't grab on anything. So the last time somebody grabbed a grip right into my knee, I felt everything right here. I felt every single groove of their knuckle and everything. And I went, this is why, what you're doing is kind of revolutionary because people make husky gis. They make long gis, for those guys, but they're not making gis for a guy who's 5'10", 290 pounds.
Well, and the husky gis, what I learned and through my time and let me tell you, the last I want to say the last 5 or 6 years, obviously I've been making a change because now a lot of other people are starting to pick up on the husky sizes. But way back when, the husky size was, they gave you more gi fabric up top. The gi pants were the same gi pants.
Same exact pants.
The same exact pants. They didn't do anything for the pants. And let me tell you, that's where a lot of the problem is, right? Because I got a lot of ass behind me, really. I got some thick thighs. I can thick thighs and a big ass, and it's not. That's really where the problem lied, right? And so designing pants and getting cuts for pants, that was hard. That's and it's not. That's the other thing, right? When you're 380. Anywhere between 350, 380. Anytime you go over the 300s, let me tell you, we're all built the same. We can be the same height and almost the same weight, but we will not built the same. If you're 5'4", 160 pounds, let me tell you, most 5'4", 160 pound guys are built almost all the exact same.
Yep.
That does not work when you're in the obese range or overweight range, right? It really doesn't.
And for me, I've always had broader shoulders. I'm like, I'm losing words tonight. But no, I've had the broader shoulders, and it's been a problem since I was a kid. It doesn't matter what weight I was, where, just shirts don't fit the same way. When I was in high school, I could buy the same size shirt every time. It fit. I'm like, I know I wear an extra large. Cool. It fits. Now I'm wearing like 8 different size shirts because
everybody's different. Yep, everybody's different. And then country of origin, the country where it's made.
Oh, yeah.
You get something. Don't try to order a 3X on Shein because it ain't an American 3X. I'll tell you that.
3X is like a medium over there.
They're 170 pounds wearing 3Xs.
Yeah, right. So, you were, like you said, you were on the scale 385. So what are you at now?
So this morning I weighed myself at 218. And I've been fluctuating. Thank you. I fluctuate anywhere between that, like 220, to the lowest has been 195.
Yeah. I was 195 at one point in my life. That was a good time.
I was too on the way up. Usually, right?
Well,
I saw that once on the way up.
Yeah, well, in competing, there's a 230 plus. So, like, anybody over that weight class, myself included, like, that puts us in a really uncomfortable spot because you're not seeing that in any other competition class. You're not seeing that much of a weight discrepancy where you could be 280 and the next guy could be 350.
I'm gonna drop this. All that weight I lost, depending, I'm still sometimes in the same weight class.
What?
Think about this. So yeah. So in the gi, right? So you have ultra heavy is 222 and up.
Yeah.
So if I don't really focus on and cut in and try to get, I'm still in the same weight class. Who was just in my at Pans in my weight class? Gabriel Gonzaga, Masters 3, ultra heavy.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, what?
Bruno Bastos, Masters 3, ultra heavy. Pedepano, Master 3, ultra heavy. Yeah. Those are
I'm
some
losing
big.
weight
Those are some
tomorrow.
big dudes, right?
I'm losing the weight.
Yeah. So I was, and you're funny. You said I was 5'9", closer. I always on my license probably said 5'10", but I was that,
Yeah,
right? But
same here.
with the amount of weight I lost, I say I lost the fat pads at the bottom of my feet. I'm more like 5'6" right now. I'm 5'6". Like I've lost height.
Oh my god. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm not.
Everybody else, they're like, I lose it in my face, I lose it in my belly. You're like, no, I lost it in my feet.
I
I
lost
got
in my
shorter.
feet and my height. Yeah. My wife sometimes she's wearing heels. I'm like, damn, you gotta wear those.
Like, are you really doing this right now? Like, are we really doing this?
But it's all right. I rock it. I don't mind. It don't bother me.
So, what obviously you saw the need for it. Like, what drove you to say, you know what, I can make these gis, like I can do this for these guys so that, like you said, jiu-jitsu is for everybody. So let's
I
make
mean,
it for everybody.
selfishly, let me tell you the truth. It was because I wanted to eat. I wanted to look fresh. I wanted to, there. Realistically, that's what it is, right? And I'm hoping, man. I hope I can sell them. That's really where it's at. Let me try this, and it's not like, believe me, I've lost money in every single batch. There's not. It's not. I'm not moving like numbers like Shoyoro or anything, so it's nothing to where it's right home about. But to be honest, I'm better off making sure that there's a couple guys every time I release a batch that finally get a gi that can start training. I got a coworker who started training. He wouldn't want to buy a gi, and then I told him, hey, look, I got some gi sizes coming up, and he bought an A3H of mine. And legit was like, okay, this is what I needed. And he started training jiu-jitsu. And now he's, 2 months in? And
Wow.
loves it, man. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that, like you said, it's funny when you get people getting ready for competition, and you'll get some of the smaller guys, and they'll point and they'll go, can't roll with you, definitely can't roll with you. And you go, I should be insulted by that, but I understand why you're saying it. But I get it, because when you are that bigger guy, people think you're just relying on your weight. And I had somebody tell me right at the end of me being a white belt, they said, you rely on your weight too much. And I got into like the blue belt category, and I had somebody go, why don't you use your weight more? And I went, because I'm not trying to rely on it anymore. And then I realized that going 100 kilos my size feels like a damn truck laying on you. And rolling with other people that same size changes you, because you start to realize what that feels like on other people. And so, again, going back to the gi, there's times where I've given up positions because I can't move my leg, because I am literally stuck in my pants. I found the one pair of pants that has the right length, but my thigh is too big. So literally they go to grab my pants and you just see them doing this, because they can't get a grip, because it's literally my skin. So when they're grabbing a hold of, that knee, and they're pushing down my knee, that's my skin you're grabbing.
It's
That's
yoga pants tight.
Yeah. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, just lose some weight, just do that." It's easier said than done. And I know with you, you're talking about losing at least 160 pounds.
So, and that's true. And let me tell you, I didn't lose the majority of my weight until I was well into being a purple belt. I lost the majority of my weight starting around June of 2017. And it was, I was still up there in 300 pounds. And let me tell you, the 300, the number 300 it was a mind fuck for me, because it was so hard for me to drop below that. And then there was times where I'd get so close, and then something would happen, and I would either go, do like a cheat meal, and just, and then go off the rockers, and then it'd be like, oh shit, I'm back at 330, and it's like, when you're so close to being under 300, and then you add 10%, because that's what that is at that time. It's like you add another 10%. You're like, damn, you
Yeah,
just
that's
you growing
mentally
back up
debilitating.
100%. So my my daughter was born July 18th of 2017,
Oh
and
man, 5 days
right
away from
around
my birthday. Like
oh
we're pretty
really
close there.
pretty
Yeah.
close, yeah. So she well, right was when my wife was pregnant with her. I had a friend of mine, actually the same guy who dubbed me Fat Juan, and
Oh
who
my.
kind of started. I was the only Juan in the gym, but I was Fat Juan to him,
You were
right?
the only Juan. You were the
I'm
only
the
Juan.
only Juan, yes, and the only Juan, but I had to be Fat Juan for him.
Oh man,
And
that's
and
rough.
I it is. And the same time, I mess with these guys and I say they fat shamed me into changing my life, and they did. You have I can't. Not everybody who makes fun of you for being fat is your enemy, right? Like some guys do it to try to motivate you, and I understand some people don't get motivated that way, but that doesn't mean they don't care about you any less, right?
Agreed.
So he kind of, and I always made excuses about, I'm doing really good on my diet, and he kind of said, hey, do you really think you're gonna walk your daughter down the aisle like this?
Oh shit.
Now, like I said, this was, she was, my wife was, within 8 weeks of giving birth, and I was like, damn, that kind of that hurt, right? So then I said, you know what, I'm gonna try doing 90 days, going real hard, going no cheat days, and I'm gonna start. And I had started keto once before, and it was just you saw, and this was back in there where like nobody did keto, right? Like there was a couple of people who did it and lost a lot of weight, and then but it was the majority. Everybody was like talking Atkins and stuff. So, but I was like, you know what? Let me try this. And right around the 90-day mark was Hurricane Irma had rolled through
Oh
Fort Myers and
God.
devastated Lee County, and I used to live down there at that time. I had come up. Luckily, my mom was here in Orlando, and I stayed up here. My office kind of let me work from here. And within that time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna eat some sushi. And that sushi, that one meal, kind of, I ate it, and I felt so horrible. I hadn't felt that horrible in the longest time. Just the amount of rice in the rolls was just it just sat so heavy. And like I said, by that time I had done 90 days of keto, and I had lost a good 45 pounds like really quick. And it was like, man, and that's the one thing, like it was like, okay, well, if this is the results I'm going to get, I'm going to keep on trying it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep on doing it. Why not? So that happened. I was like, dang, okay. So let me just get back on the wagon. I wasn't going to. And then from there, I went that long stint, and I went 587 days, which is almost 2 years. No cheat days, And the beautiful part of that for me,
Like
the
that. No,
beautiful
that
part
deserved
was
that.
like,
Like, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, but I was lucky and blessed in the fact that there wasn't all these stuff that was marketed keto and wasn't, right? Because nowadays,
oh my God. Yeah.
everything you go down every aisle and everything's going to say keto this, keto that.
And it's really
And
not.
it's 100% it's really not. They play numbers with with your net carbs and your fiber intake, and they're playing all this now. And then really, if you start looking at the ingredients and all the dose, the sucralose and everything that's hidden in there, the sugar alcohols and stuff, it's like, man, it's really not keto.
No, it's not.
But I did it at a time where there was nothing, and it at that time, I hated it because I was like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. My ice cream, my treat to myself would be, I would have to, I had one of those, my wife has one of those mixers, those KitchenAid mixers, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I would put about a cup, of heavy cream in the mixer, put it in the freezer for a little bit, and then I would have the mixer sit there and mix it until the heavy cream was very, very thick, just kind of like a Cool Whip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then had a little bit of stevia in it, put it in the freezer, and that was my ice cream. That's how and nowadays you can go up to a Publix and you could get Rebel ice cream that says it's keto, and it kind of is, but if you
But
eat
it's
it,
not that keto.
it's not that keto. Because let me tell you, the gas it gives you is doesn't it doesn't feel right, and it doesn't sit well.
Dude, keto gas is no joke. I'm not
Oh
even
my
gonna
God,
lie.
it's
Like,
not.
oh my God.
It's worse than protein farts,
I know that everybody watching tonight did not know we were gonna hit keto and protein parts, but that's the first here on the show. So keeping you on your toes, guys.
So that's 587 days, right? So that dude, the only reason I broke it at that point, we were vacationing in Brazil. Okay, we were in Rio de Janeiro, and it was one of the final days. Dude, I ate so much churrascaria out there, but it was still like I'll just eat meat and cheese. Meat and cheese. That's what I would do. So keto. But there's this one spot that my friend from Fort Myers, I was telling somebody else in my podcast yesterday about how, jiu-jitsu is so amazing that you can go 4,000 miles away and make friends only for the simple fact that you trained somewhere, you trained with somebody's friend. So the guy that, who trained jiu-jitsu with me, who taught my son capoeira in Fort Myers, he had a cousin in Rio. He's from Rio. And he goes, oh, look, I'll link you up with my cousin. And his cousin came, picked me up. I left for me and my wife, we went there with the kids. Dude, the amount of Portuguese I still speak like zero. I solely made it around over there on my broken Spanish, because luckily enough, it's so close. But we did all right, and there's so many people. Oh my God, how can you guys are crazy. You guys know nobody out there, and you guys are going to go to Brazil with the kids. Okay, let's go. But, so I left him at the Airbnb and had his cousin pick me up. We went to go train a couple times, and it was amazing. Like, made friends over there, friends that still hit up on Instagram today, talk to all the time. Just jiu-jitsu, right? So we were there, and on the beach, he was telling me, listen, if there's ever an acai place that you need to try, it's this Coco Point right there. And so that's how I broke 587 days of no cheat day, was acai in Rio. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's not a bad way to break it, but
no, definitely worth story worthy though. I'll never forget that. I've never had acai that good.
Dude, every Brazilian, everyone who speaks Portuguese, everyone is like acai, and then you try it and you go, oh, okay, I see what it is. So I've never had it from Brazil. I can't say that, but I will.
And then you put granola, and then when they really start getting with the condensed milk, because the condensed milk just steps it up another notch. But the honey, yeah. So that's what that's where it was. And then during that same time period, during the end of December 2018, I listened to Goggins' first book, You Can't Hurt Me. And in that book, I kind of, I was going to start 2019, and I was going to do 100 burpees for 100 days. That was my goal. Ooh. Actually, no. I'm sorry. It was 100 for 30 days. And I had a friend who was going to say, oh, well, I was going to do he was doing 100 air squats, 100 push-ups, and 100 sit-ups for 100 days. And he goes, you should probably do it for 100 days. And I go, okay. So then I started doing it for 100 days. And in the interim of that, it became, okay, let me just do 100 for the year. You know, at the end of the year, it'd be like 36,500. And I was like, man, mentioned it to somebody who did CrossFit at the same gym with us. And he started like almost 4 or 5 weeks behind me. And he said, you know what though? I'm going to try to hit 40,000 at the end of the year. And it kind of like, it set me away, because I was like, wait, you're not going to out burpee me in my own shit. You're not, I started this. You're not going to out burpee me in my own shit. So then that became, it just kept on changing. It kept on changing. So I ended up doing burpees every day for 625 days to the tune of 100,005. And I did the 5 extra.
I can't even clap for that. Like that.
And I did the 5 extra only because I said, why stop at 100,000? But that also helped me so much through the pandemic, right? Because that was very towards the end of it, and I luckily didn't gain, the quarantine, the 15, because I was doing burpees every day. And actually, because I had to stop doing jiu-jitsu, I went from I'll do 200 a day, and I raised it to 250, because I was like, I need more of a workout.
200. Whew. Yeah, I can't even imagine doing that, like fitting that into my day. Like I probably should be able to do that. I mean, where you're looking at right now, is where I work. Like this is my office. Like this is it.
It was not easy, and there was days where I would wake up and get them done early, and there was days where I would like, fuck, it's 11 o'clock. I need to do these before the day ends.
Oh man.
Yeah. Those days sucked. But some
you're like 11 o'clock, it's time for bed. I didn't do my burpees today.
But let me tell you, that instilled a lot of discipline. And it carries over, right? And I can't say that I work out every day like I do. I do jiu-jitsu 4 to 5 times a week.
Jeez.
And I don't get to work out on, I try to, but I don't do it every day, and I should be, right? And that's just a reminder that I probably should be, because I've done it before, and I've done something. Once you do 150 burpees or even 100 burpees, do 50. You do it every day, and everything else kind of seems okay. If I can do this, that really sucks, right? A lot of people go, I'd rather do something that I like to do. I didn't like doing burpees. I did it because they suck.
Yeah. That's why we train jiu-jitsu. It sucks, but we like doing it.
and you're getting better at it, right? So it was just one of those. And if I can attack the day knowing that I did something that I hated to do, but I still did it, most of everything else could be easier, Just a different, way to look at things.
That's a way different way to look at things. And like, I still can't get over the 100,005. That would bother me that you did 5. Like you need to do 100,006. Like
I got a friend, he goes, bro, why'd you should have 100,010, because that's not an even number.
He's like, that isn't even.
And I go, you're right. I go, but it's divisible by 5.
You just get on the ground and do 5 more. You're like, okay. I got time. Well, Juan, I'm going to keep this episode a little bit shorter, because I think we need to do a part 2, because we still need to talk more about your journey and everything else. And I kind of want to keep people wondering what's going on, because again, you we talk about the significant amount of weight, and like I've been through the keto thing, and the first time keto, it worked. The second time you try keto after you stop, doesn't work so well.
It
And
does, and you're 100% it doesn't.
because
It,
your body goes, "Hey, asshole, I'm not doing this again." Like they completely understands what's going on. So I think we'll talk more about your daily regimen, like what things have been like since you started the Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu brand, making amazing shirt for the Combat Night guys.
Thank you, thank you.
That
That
I've
was
definitely.
actually my buddy Chris Lucky from Retro Grappler
Oh
designed that. Now,
gosh,
that shirt. So that shirt is very, very. I'm never gonna. We can't release it anymore. But the reason that shirt is very, very important to me. So the Duval fight that shirt references was March of 2020. It was the only MMA sanctioned MMA event happening in the United States during COVID. That right there is the reason why the UFC came back to Florida and started coming to Florida, because
and started
Mitchell
making Jacksonville.
Chamali did,
Yep.
what Mitchell Chamali did in Duval County set precedents, and that's why the UFC was able to come back.
It's so funny because I messaged Mitchell today because part of our work, we have the ability to donate to a charity of our choice. So of course I picked the Josh Salmon Foundation.
Oh, thank you. That's
And I
awesome.
found out that my company donated $250, which that doesn't sound like a lot, but they're doing that for every single one of their 40,000 plus employees. I'm like, that means a big deal. So all these, different charities, and I said, out of all the ones I could have picked, I said that one is near and dear because of everything Mitchell did and everything Mitchell's done. And you're absolutely right. The UFC had not done anything in Florida for years. If you talk about 2 weeks ago, they just did their first pay-per-view in Miami since like UFC 46.
Now, do you know the importance of that? It beat Madison Square Garden. The Gate beat MSG.
Yep. You know why? Because Izzy. Sorry, that's my.
Izzy, or was it Jorge? The King of Miami, dog.
It's probably Jorge, but that fight was awful. I'm sorry, Jorge. If you're watching, I'm sorry, and if you're watching, also thank you.
Love you, Jorge. Yeah.
But it was a way to see him go out. But I think Jorge had done what he needed to do, and I think it was kind of the opposite of an adrenaline jump, in the sense that he knew that that was his last fight, whether he won or lost. I think he really did, and I think he just said, you know what, let's just go out there and give him a show. And I think he did everything he could to try and make that happen. And unfortunately, in this sport, not everybody's going to want to agree with that. Not everybody's going to say, I don't want you to make a name out of me. Look at, I don't want to be the guy who breaks, he broke the record on title defenses, or in hockey, I don't want to be the guy, oh, he scored his 50th goal on me. Well, everyone's going to remember me now, things like that. So I feel like sometimes people are a little like the other fighters, like, yeah, I know this is a big moment for you, but I'm not I'm not
going to be your highlight reel.
Yeah, exactly. So Juan, I'll just take a second and take this time to tell everybody about the brand, where they can find your stuff, and anything special you're doing. So
anything, fatboybjj.com. That's where everything's at. On Instagram, I'm fatboybjj. There you can link I have the link to my store, the website, the store, the podcast that I do, which kind of tries to, I'm trying to do this as well. I teach kids jiu-jitsu, so that's, at our school, Tough as Nails, jiu-jitsu out in Oviedo. So if you're ever in Orlando, you want to come train with me. You said, you mentioned earlier about smaller guys not wanting to train with big guys, and I actually try to make it a fact that if there's a big guy that comes to my school, I try to train with him, because I know what it was to be. Now I'm not going to, I know what to do and what not to do, right? But I try to train with all the big guys, because I know that that feeling of not people not wanting to train with you because of your weight, because of your size. So for that very reason alone, I try to make it a point to roll with people, to roll with the bigger guys.
Well, and you're a brown belt now, if I'm not mistaken. Are we
a black belt?
What?
Yes, I got I got my black belt last year, actually.
Oh my
the
God.
last year. Yes, sir.
Professor Juan. Dude, that's so exciting. I'm sure I didn't miss that, but in this moment right now, I'm like, sure I did. But I think it's so exciting because so many people I know have gotten their black belts within the last couple of years from all different
it's
schools.
amazing. I believe me, I still feel like a brown belt. But it's great. It's a different way. Like, it really, I think that me getting my black belt is what really got my wife to start training jiu-jitsu now. Which, that just, fall in love with the sport all over, because now I get to mold someone so close to me.
And you're right in every situation because you know what's going on. Tell your wife not to watch like the last 5 minutes of this because she's not gonna like that one.
Well, let me tell you, one of the tricks that I did was, hey, I'm gonna do all the gi laundry. So let me tell you how much gi laundry I'm consistently doing gi laundry.
Oh man, well, I think it's taken long enough. I think once I get back in there training, I think I need one of your geese. So we'll definitely need to talk and
We'll
get
link
some
up.
and I want to be able to represent that because I know we've got a bigger guy. We've got a much bigger guy than me. And I know it's hard for him to find a gi. I know it's harder for those guys because, sometimes they're just big guys. Other people like to say they're fat. Other call them fat boy. You call it Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu for a reason.
Yeah.
And, like you said, the fat shaming is what changed your life. And I know that's weird and everybody's probably going to have a problem with that. But some of that, those people saying that to you kind of gave you a different direction. And
I saw something. You're absolutely right. I saw something today. Was it today or yesterday? In Instagram. And it was all over because it was this really, 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 really morbidly obese chick on an airplane. And she was getting upset that that the airplane's not built for you, right? And I've had to fly a couple times where it's like they've almost uncomfortably tried to tell me, yo, you need to buy 2 seats. And let me tell you, I don't think that we need to change everything because Americans are so obese. I think we really need to look within and change that ourselves, because this is not this. It's okay to be obese, or even the stranger thing. It's healthy to be obese. It's crazy. It's not good.
No.
I'm just, the way I feel, the amount of energy I have, completely changed. And it's really, it's eye opening, and it's easy for me to say that now. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? But if that's one thing I can tell people, man, you got to make the change now. You don't want to be me at 30. Luckily I'm 40 now. I started making the change at about 35. I could have saved myself so much heartache from 20 to 35 of shit that I could not do. There's a laundry list of shit that I could not do because you're just too big.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need a change.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to change that. I think, like the fat shaming, it's not, I don't think it's, I mean, there's a difference between fat shaming into it and straight up bullying. But I don't think it's not warranted.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because as I've gotten bigger, like I noticed, like, man, these seats are smaller. I don't remember them being this small, and I'm going, no, it's me. This is what needs to change. So I think that's kind of the eye-opening thing there. So this was kind of an introspective into my own life, which was kind of
Sorry,
Not
I
what I was
didn't.
thinking, but no, but
Wasn't going to there.
yeah, what the hell, Juan? What the hell? So, I'll just take a moment. As everybody knows, La Barba Cubana, amazing beard care, Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu, as you're seeing in the flesh right now, amazing BJJ gear. Tim_makes knives on Instagram. Bertzo's Bakes Goods out in Orlando. So if you're in Orlando and you're needing a cheat day, some of the best sweets you'll ever have. So sorry to, ruin that diet if you're on one right now. What's really cool is I wore this hat out the other day and somebody was like, "Oh my God, that's an amazing bakery." And I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but it was really cool to see that, like, hey, somebody recognized something and, my advertising worked in some way, shape, or form. And then the Tales of the Concert Junkie, you guys have seen that. That's talesofaconcertjunkie.myshopify.com. Use promo code Quiggin Out for 15% off your order. If you're training MMA, jiu-jitsu, go to Rev Gear, check out promo code Quiggin Out as well. That's something new we're working on. So if the promo code doesn't work, I'm sorry, but it's something new. And, really at the end of the day, this moment is for Fat Boy BJJ. You bigger guys out there, I know you're going to watch this and be like, oh my God, it's finally somebody who's making a gi for me and I can finally get back into it. And that's exactly what Juan's going for here. And I really appreciate everything you do. So on behalf of myself,
Thank
Combat
you.
Press, and all of us not small guys out there, thank you so much, brother. And you have yourself
And listen, we're going to put this right here, the Quiggin Out. I'll get with you, the Quiggin Out. If it's not today, by tomorrow, get Quiggin Out the checkout, and we get 10% off all the geese.
Oh, see now, everybody better run. I don't care if you're big or not. Run to this site and get this, because this is life-changing. And again, for me, that's the most discouraging thing about training, is that when the gi started to get too small, when it shrunk a little bit too much, whether it was because of the dryer or because of me, that kills your drive. And you see all these people, these skinny people wearing gis, and they're like, look what I got. This is so cool. And you're like, hey, they don't make that in my size. So I think what you're doing is not condoning it. You're giving them a lifeline. You're giving them a raft and going, okay, here's the raft, now swim. Get to a point where you can change your life for the better. And I really appreciate everything you're doing, Juan. So thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope you have a great night, man.
Likewise, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. Hey guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe, little bell, keep you up to date on all things Quiggin Out. Thanks again.